Hi everyone, welcome to part 2 of question 57. So, part A, we were supposed to discuss the business and the financial risk and also risk mitigation and risk diversification. So, and it's for 6 marks, 3 marks for each. 3 marks for business and financial risk, 3 marks for mitigation and diversification. So, it is in two paragraphs as you see, right? This talks about business and financial risk. So this is a theory question and this video is only discussing part A and C of question 57, and I want to take you through how a theory question have to be answered because I get this request many times by the candidates for AFM asking me to make a video on theory questions, and also that's why I separated this video from the number calculation part, right? So that both you and me, we don't run with the time thinking the time is short. We have done the report part, great. Now with us, first you can start with anything, business risk or financial risk, but make sure you know the definition of it. So that is the first thing, you have to know the definition. Okay, now the owners of the shareholders of a business will accept that it needs to engage in some risk activities in order to generate returns in excess of the risk-free rate of return, right? We need to take risk. If you don't take risk, how will you get the return? The greater the risk, the greater the return. We all know that. Shareholders and all, they accept it also. They accept some risk because without that risky activity, returns you will not get. Returns over what? Risk-free rate of return. That is the first line. Okay. Now, a business, it will be exposed to different amounts of business and financial risk depending on the decisions it makes. Okay. So business risk depends on what? What is business risk? It depends on the decision a business makes. So let me go to the requirements again. It says are related. Okay. So first point and second and third. How do you get the 3 points? Define business risk, define financial risk. One line only is enough. And how related? How they are related. Okay, I'm sorry for the bad handwriting. I hope you'll be able to read how related they both are. This is how you're getting the 3 points. Okay, here the answer is lengthy, but you don't have to write so much and don't write also so much. One line for businesses, one line for financials, and how they are. If you want, you can give examples, like how they have given examples here. So let's start with business risk. Business risk depends on the decisions a business makes with respect to services and products it offers. Okay, and consists of the variability in its profit. That is a business risk. For example, now they are giving an example for the business risk. Okay, it could be related to the demand of its products. Maybe the demand reduced, that's a business risk. Or the rate of innovation, maybe the competitors are innovating at a faster rate, they are not innovating, you are not innovating, so that's a business risk again for you. Actions of competitors, again a business risk. Okay, so give us some examples. It's better if you have examples also. Okay, etc. 2-3 examples is enough. You don't have to give 10-20 examples. Okay, financial risk. Now next is financial risk. Financial risk relates to the volatility of earnings due to financial structure. It also relates to the volatility of earnings. This also relates to the volatility of earnings, but the difference is this depends on the financial structure of the business, and it could be related to gearing. Okay, gearing. Here also they are giving examples. Gearing, exchange rate risk. It is exposed to its credit risk. It's liquidity risk. All these are financial risk: exchange rate risk, gearing risk, credit risk, liquidity risk. This you are giving examples. You defined business risk, you are giving examples. You define financial risk, you are giving examples. Keep your answers consistent. This is consistency. A business exposed to. Okay. Now you are saying how they're related. The last line. A business exposed to high level of business risk may not be able to take excessive financial risk. Here is the point. You are linking. It is related, you are saying how they are related. Okay, a business exposed to high level of business risk may not be able to take excessive financial risk and vice versa. Okay, if it has high financial risk, it cannot take high business risk. It has If it has high business risk, it cannot take high financial risk. Same as the shareholders or owners may not want to bear. The important is this: why they cannot do that? Why, if you are having a high business risk, you cannot take excessive financial risk? The reason is shareholders or owners, they don't want to, or they may not want to bear risk beyond an acceptable level. No one will do that. I don't know whether you heard that sound or not, some drilling sound. I'm so sorry for the sound, because some work is going on at my home, so that drilling sound is there. I hope it didn't disturb you. Okay. So the main thing is they don't want to accept a risk beyond an accept. No one wants to accept a risk beyond an acceptable level. Will you? You have a limit, right? That this much risk only you can take. Beyond that, you will not take. Same way for the shareholders and the owners of a business. So do you see how easy it is? If you know this format of answering theory, you can answer any theory question. Okay, so that is for the first part. Coming to the second part of it: risk mitigation and diversification. Is it so? That's right. Yes, risk management strategy and risk diversification. Here also it is same. Risk management, risk diversification, 1, 2, and 3. What is the third one? How risk mitigation and risk diversification can form a part of risk management strategy. Risk mitigation, I'm sorry. Risk mitigation. So you risk mitigation, risk diversification, define and say how they form part of risk management. Okay, that is the third. But make sure that you follow this order. It should not be the other way around. Okay, where you are first saying how they are in the process and then you are defining risk mitigation and diversification. It does not make any logical sense also, right? So risk management involves the process of risk identification. Okay, we know that is that cycle, risk management cycle, identification, management, and then all those things, right? uh, you have studied this in SBL. If you haven't, you will be studying. If you're taking SBL later, you will be studying this in depth in SBL, that risk management cycle. Okay, before coming to the risk management, first risk identification. That is the process. Okay, so the risk management involves the process of, you have to talk about what are the processes in risk management. Why? Because you have to show that risk mitigation and diversification are a part of risk management process. For that to happen, you have to tell all the process what are there in the risk management. So that is your starting point. Risk management process. First is risk identification. Okay, of assessing and measuring the risk through the process of predicting, analyzing, and quantifying it, and then making the decisions on which risk to assume, which to avoid, which to retain, and which to transfer. So the second thing, you assess and measure. Okay, then you assume, avoid, retain, or transfer. In other words, you accept. Okay, that the Thara model, you have to talk about the Thara model. Transfer, accept, risk, and accept. Transfer, accept, risk, and avoid. Okay, that risk Thara model. If you haven't, it's there in SBL model. You must have done in SBL. So you have to talk about that, because that it's a part of risk management process. Okay, these are the ways you manage your risk. You either accept, you either avoid, you either retain, or transfer. So making decisions of which risk to assume, which to avoid, which to retain, as stated above, business will not aim to avoid all risk. Can they avoid all risk? You cannot, as it will want to generate excess return. Yes, if you have to avoid all risk, you cannot get excess return. For that, you have to accept some risk. So dependent on factors such as what? Controllability, frequency, severity of the risk. It may decide to eliminate or reduce some risk from the business or risk transfer. Okay, you're transferring the risk based on what? Controllability, frequency, and severity of the risk. Depending on that, you decide to eliminate or reduce some risk from the business through risk transfer. Through risk transfer. Risk mitigation. Now you're talking about risk mitigation. What is it? It is the process of transferring risk out of the business through, for example, hedging or insurance. Give examples. This is the way you mitigate risk. You hedge or insurance or avoid certain risk altogether. Avoid. Risk diversification. Now you are mentioning what is risk diversification. But before coming to that risk mitigation, you have to give the process. What are the steps in process and all that you identify, you avoid, you accept that model, and then you transfer risk. That is risk mitigation. And risk diversification is a process of risk reduction through spreading business activity into different products and services. You are going global. You are making more products and services, introducing more products and services. That is known as risk diversification. Different geographical areas or different industries to minimize being excessively exposed by focusing exclusively on one product. You don't want to depend on one product or service. You are spreading it out. That is risk diversification. Now do you see how it is written? So now you are getting your 6 marks. Okay. Earlier I have shown in part 1 the marking scheme. Now coming to part C. If you haven't seen part 1 of my video, please do check. I have explained the report part B. Coming to part C. Part C, there is a note. Read this note. This is an open-ended question and a variety of relevant answers may be given by candidates depending on how question requirement is interpreted. Following answer is just one possible approach which could be taken. Credit will be given for alternative but valid interpretation answers. So this is an open-ended question. Every candidate will have different things. Okay, this is one type. So don't assume that whatever you have written, if it's not matching with this, it's wrong. You might have some valid points which is not covered here. That's why it's always better to review with someone, to show your answers to someone so that they can check. Because your interpretation and their interpretation might be different. Okay, so what is the third requirement? I'm sure by now you also have forgot. I also forgot. So we'll go. You have to keep rereading your requirements many times. Third, discuss the possible reason for the third test. Approach the risk management and should consider each risk before taking appropriate action. So third test is risk management, and they are saying to how appropriate it is to take each risk before taking final decision. I think it's for 7 marks, right? So we'll see. And it is okay to different paragraph. How many paragraphs? It has 6 different paragraphs if I'm seeing from here. Okay, so let's start with the first one. This type of question we can start in any order anyway. Okay, but we'll start with the third director, what they are saying. First, always start with what they said, their statement. Okay, what did they tell? From the case study you can pick up. So according to the third director, okay, risk management involves more than just risk mitigation or risk diversification as proposed by the first and the second director. That's what they told. Yes, so that should be your first line. The proposal suggested by the first and the second director. What are their proposal? Their proposal are likely to change the makeup of the company. Some are saying increase debt, some are saying reduce debt, some are saying invest in non-current assets, and cause uncertainty amongst the company's owners or client. It will cause uncertainty, definitely. This in turn may cause unnecessary fluctuations in share price. That uncertainty. Okay, so she suggests that these changes are fundamental and more than just risk management tool. So they're saying they're doing all these changes to reduce cost of capital, which is risk. But third director is saying this is fundamental. It is more than that. Okay. So Instead, it seems that she is suggesting that Morada should follow the risk management process suggested in Part A above, where risk should be identified, assessed, and then mitigated according to the company's risk appetite. So he's saying risk first should be identified, then it should be assessed, then it should be mitigated according to the company's risk appetite. That's what she's suggesting. Now, so basically you're bringing part A and part C together. You can talk about risk management process. What is there in risk management? Just now we answered in part A. So you can bring this in your answer. The risk management process should be undertaken with a view to increasing shareholder wealth. Why are we taking risk management process? Simply to increase the shareholder wealth only. And therefore the company should consider what drives this value and what are the risks associated with these drivers of value. Monitor may, you have to link with the company, okay, may assess that some of these risks are controllable and some are not controllable. It may assess that there are severe and others are less, and so it may assess that they are likely to occur more frequently than others. See, all type of risks are not same. Some will occur more, some will be less, some will be more severe, some will be less severe, some are more predictable, some are not predictable. Those are the points you need to write. You're talking about the nature of the risk. That risk can differ. Okay. Now, Morada may take the view that the non-controllable may take the view. What are the view they're taking? That non-controllable, severe, or frequent risk should be eliminated. So they're saying non-controllable, something which you cannot control, something which is very severe and something which is very frequent should be eliminated or not accepted. On the other hand, where Morada is of opinion that it has a comparative advantage of superior knowledge of risk and therefore is better able to manage them, it may come to the conclusion that it should accept them if they can manage it well. For example, now they are giving example. Give examples. It may take the view that it is able to manage events such as flight delays or hotel standards, but would hedge. Why hotel standards they are talking about? It is in which industry? Hotel industry. Travel, right? So for that, flight also matters a lot. People have to travel by flight and all and go there. So they are talking about the flight delays also. This is your commercial acumen. If you have done SBL, you will understand it better. Your knowledge beyond your textbook. Okay? So it may take the view that if it can manage the flight delay or hotel standards, but would hedge against currency fluctuations. But they will hedge against currency fluctuations, right? And insure against natural disaster due to their severity or non-controllability. Exactly. Natural disaster is so severe and you cannot control it. It does not happen very frequently, but once it happens, it's very severe. So it's better to go for insurance for that. You are transferring the risk and you are hedging the currency fluctuations to mitigate the risk. If you can manage means what? You can avoid flight delay and hotel standards going down. Okay, you have to give such examples. Now, so theory suggests that undertaking risk management may increase the value of a company. Okay, risk management. What does risk management do? Ultimately, you have to tell that it increases the value of the company. If the benefits occurring from the risk management activity are more than the cost involved in managing the risk, obviously benefit has to be more. For example, again you are giving example. Smoothing the volatility of profits may make it easier for Morada to plan and match long-term funding with future projects, or to take advantage of market imperfections by reducing the amount of taxation payable, or it may reduce the cost involved with incidents of financial distress. In each case, though, the benefits acquired should be assessed against the cost involved. This is your textbook knowledge. You have to use partially your textbook knowledge, partially your presence of mind, your present knowledge, whatever you acquired from somewhere else. Practical, in reality, if you can apply it. Like how they have talked about flight delays and hotel standards. This usually does not come to a student's mind at that time. Okay. Now, the last one. It's like a conclusion you are giving. So therefore, a risk management process is more than just mitigating risk, is it? Yes, it is just more than. You're trying to show that it is more than mitigating risk, the risk management process. That's why you talked about risk management process and mitigating risk, this diversification and risk hedging risk and all. Through reducing financial risk as the first director suggesting. How? Through mitigating risk? Reducing financial risk as the first director. You have to talk about all the three directors here. First directive, financial risk will reduce because they are reducing debt as such, or risk diversification. Okay. Second directive is more about risk diversification. Is suggesting. Okay. Just more than this too. Or the risk diversification. Or the risk diversification as the second directive is suggesting. When you read the second directive also, they have talked about risk diversification. Let me take you to the second directive. Here, I have underlined also risk diversification. And here, first directive is more like risk mitigation. So for this, it is more. Risk management is more than the are two, mitigation and diversification. That's what you are proving here. Instead, it is a process. It is more. If it is more, then it is what? Instead, it is a process of risk analysis and about judgment of which risk to hedge or mitigate. You may have to make a judgment. Remember, all the treasury department on who's there, it's not an easy task. You just cannot hedge any risk because it's a risk. You have to decide and make a judgment whether you actually have to hedge or not, whether you actually have to mitigate or not. So it is more. It is like a risk analysis and about judgment of which risk to hedge or mitigate, and finally, which risk reduction mechanisms to employ. Are you going to reduce? Are you going to transfer? Are you going to avoid? Are you going to accept? Which one? Depending on the type of risk. All this you have to talk about. Type, because each risk have to be dealt differently depending on the type of that type of risk. And the cost of risk analysis also have to be taken into consideration. You just cannot do any risk analysis if cost is more than the benefit of doing that analysis. And also mitigation. And the benefits acquiring from the mitigation. You have to compare cost benefit analysis. You have to do risk, which to mitigate, which to diversify, whether you have to do, whether you have to hedge depending on the type, all these things. Okay, so that's it for this, and I hope by now you have a better understanding of writing theory parts, and you will be not struggling so much as you used to after seeing this video probably. And don't forget to share this video with your friends, please. It's my humble request, because I just want everyone to pass. That's it. My goal is to make everyone pass. That's why I'm not charging anything from anyone. It is free of cost. The only thing is you just have to share this video with your friend. Just press one button, share, and that's it. It could be a WhatsApp group, it could be on your Facebook, it could be in any social media, but just do share. And I don't want anything in return from you. Just want your blessings and that more people do benefit from this channel. That's the whole purpose. So this channel is your channel. Treat it like your channel. It is not my channel. I always say it's your channel. It is, this channel belongs to all my viewers and all my subscribers. We are like one family under this one channel. So any issue, any doubt you have, you're always free to communicate with me. My Gmail, you can mail me. We can connect through WhatsApp, through Instagram, on Facebook. So make this forum a way of building a relationship along with continuing your ACC. I would say that it is not just a channel. It's not just a teacher-student relationship. It's beyond that. So consider it as your channel. It is your right that you protect and you bring more people in this channel, so that maximum people, all the ACCA people around the world, I would say, gets connected and do benefit. That's it. That's my dream. Inshallah, I will achieve it with your help, of course. Alone, I cannot do anything. Alone, I'm helpless. I always get this power when you people are there. You people like it. You people are with me. So do comment below that you are with me and you are there to support me. That's it I need from you. Thank you so much. Till then, and we should be happy that we are in the last question, 58. Just one more question and then we are done with the revision kit. Finally, you can take a breath. Write the sign of relief that we are done. And then I'll be focusing on the mocks and the past paper. Okay, and thank you. Do take care.